front of people, Keanu Reeves' reaction appears normal. Sandra Bullock entered the high-end boutique in Beverly Hills, her presence effortless yet elegant. She was dressed casually, her hair in a loose ponytail, wearing oversized sunglasses and a simple black dress. To the ordinary eye, she might have looked like any other shopper, not the world-famous actress that she was. The boutique was known for its exclusivity. Rows of designer gowns lined the walls, and glass cases displayed shimmering jewelry worth small fortunes. As Sandra browsed through the dresses, a store manager, a tall woman with sharp features and an air of superiority, approached her with a fake smile. "Excuse me, miss," the manager said, eyeing Sandra up and down. "Are you sure this is the right store for you?" Sandra blinked in surprise. "Excuse me. These dresses are quite expensive," the woman continued, emphasizing the last words. "Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at a store with a different price range." A few shoppers nearby turned to watch. Whispers began to spread. Was the manager serious? Did she not know who she was talking to? At that moment, the boutique's entrance chimed, and in walked Keanu Reeves. Dressed in his signature black coat and boots, his presence was magnetic yet humble. He immediately spotted Sandra and the store manager, noticing the tension in the air. Sandra chuckled softly, unfazed. "Oh, really? Well, that's a shame. I was actually looking to buy something special today." The manager crossed her arms. "I'm just looking out for our clientele. We have a reputation to maintain." Keanu walked up beside Sandra, casually picking up a designer handbag. He examined the tag and nodded. "This one's nice," he said in his usual calm voice. He then turned to Sandra. "Want to buy the whole store?" The manager's face paled. "Mr. Reeves, I didn't realize." Keanu let out a small amused smile but didn't say anything. He simply looked at Sandra, his expression neutral, waiting for her reaction. Sandra took off her sunglasses and smiled sweetly at the manager. "No worries," she said. "I think we'll take our business elsewhere." With that, she looped her arm around Keanu's and the two walked out of the boutique, leaving the manager standing in stunned silence. Outside, Keanu finally spoke. "That was interesting." Sandra laughed. "Did you see her face?" Keanu smirked. "Yeah. But honestly, I knew you'd handle it. You always do." As they strolled down Rodeo Drive, neither of them cared about the gasps and camera flashes from the crowd. They were just two friends, enjoying their day, unbothered by those who failed to see beyond the surface. And somewhere inside that boutique, the manager realized, too late, the cost of judging someone by their appearance. "What do you think? Want any tweaks?" As Sandra and Keanu walked away from the boutique, the murmurs of onlookers faded into the background. The cool Beverly Hills breeze brushed against them, but neither seemed affected by what had just happened. "Where to next?" Keanu asked, glancing at Sandra with his usual calm demeanor. Sandra thought for a moment. "Honestly, I could use a good coffee after that." Keanu nodded. "I know just the place." They walked to a cozy little cafe tucked between designer stores. A place Keanu often visited when he wanted to escape the chaos of Hollywood. As they stepped inside, the warm scent of freshly brewed coffee greeted them. Unlike the luxury boutique, the cafe was welcoming, with soft jazz playing in the background, and friendly baristas who didn't judge their customers by their outfits. As they waited for their drinks, a woman approached timidly. She looked nervous, clutching her phone in her hands. "Excuse me. I don't mean to interrupt, but are you Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves?" Sandra turned with a friendly smile. "Guilty as charged." The woman hesitated. "I just wanted to say, I saw what happened back at the boutique. That manager was awful to you. I don't understand how people can be so judgmental." Sandra shrugged. "It happens. Some people only see what's on the surface." Keanu took a sip of his coffee. "It's their loss," he said simply. The woman smiled. "Well, I just wanted to say that you're both amazing, not just as actors, but as people. I've been a fan for years." "That means a lot," Sandra said warmly. "Would you like a picture?" The woman's eyes widened. "Really? I didn't want to bother you." Keanu chuckled. "You already asked, so let's do it." As they posed for a quick selfie, more customers in the cafe recognized them, but unlike the boutique, there was no pretentiousness here, just genuine admiration. People smiled, whispered excitedly, and a few even clapped as Sandra and Keanu waved goodbye and walked back outside. As they continued down the street, Sandra glanced at Keanu. You didn't say much back there at the boutique. You just stood there watching. Keanu smirked. I knew you didn't need saving. Sandra laughed. Fair enough. Keanu took another sip of his coffee, his eyes twinkling. But I was ready to buy the whole store just to watch her reaction. Sandra nudged him playfully. Now that would have been hilarious. They walked off together, two Hollywood legends who had nothing to prove, because the greatest luxury wasn't in designer labels or exclusivity, it was in knowing your own worth. And that was something no boutique manager could ever put a price on. The end. Hope you liked the continuation. Let me know if you want to add anything. As Keanu and Sandra continued their stroll down Rodeo Drive, a sense of amusement still lingered between them. It wasn't the first time they had encountered people who judged by appearances, and it certainly wouldn't be the last. Sandra sipped her coffee, glancing at Keanu. You know, I kinda wish you had bought the store, just to see the look on her face. Keanu chuckled. And then what? Turn it into a free clothing giveaway? Sandra grinned. Exactly. Now, that would be a statement. Keanu shook his head with a smirk. Tempting, but I think we made our point. Just then a voice called out from behind. Excuse me, Miss Bullock, Mr. Reeves. They turned to see a young woman, no older than 25, rushing toward them. She was slightly out of breath, wearing an employee badge from the same boutique where the incident had happened. I just wanted to say I'm so sorry about what happened back there, she said, her voice laced with sincerity. I work at the boutique, but I was in the back when it all happened. When I came out, I saw my manager turning pale and the customers whispering about how she messed up. And then I realized she had just humiliated Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves. Sandra smiled kindly. It's all right, that kind of thing happens. No, it's not all right, the employee insisted. I wanted to tell you, you're both such incredible people, and not just because you're famous. I've seen interviews, I've heard stories about how kind you both are, and the way you handled that situation with grace and humor, I wish more people were like that. Keanu nodded. Thank you, that means a lot. The woman hesitated before adding, and, just so you know, corporate is already hearing about what happened. That manager might not be working there much longer. Sandra raised an eyebrow. Oh, that fast? The woman nodded. A customer recorded the whole thing and posted it online. It's already going viral. Sandra and Keanu exchanged glances. Keanu sighed playfully. Great, another viral video of me doing nothing. Sandra burst out laughing. You are good at that. The young woman grinned. Anyway, I just wanted to say I admire you both. And if you ever do want to shop there again... She reached into her pocket and pulled out a store discount card. This one's on me. Sandra took the card with a smirk. Well, that's ironic. Keanu looked at Sandra. Should we? Sandra pretended to think. I think I'd rather support a store that wants me there. The employee laughed. Fair enough, thanks for listening, and thank you for being you. As she walked away, Sandra turned to Keanu. Well, at least there's one decent person at that boutique. Keanu nodded. Maybe she'll be the manager soon. Sandra smirked. Now that would be a happy ending. As the sun began to set, the two friends continued their walk, leaving behind the drama of the day, knowing they had nothing to prove to anyone. Because true class wasn't about luxury or exclusivity, it was about character, and that was something no one could take away from them. The end. That should wrap it up nicely. Let me know if you want any more twists. As Sandra and Keanu walked further down the boulevard, the energy of the city continued around them. Cars honking, street performers entertaining tourists, and luxury shoppers flaunting their latest purchases. But the two friends were in their own world, amused by the unexpected turn their day had taken. Sandra glanced at her phone and chuckled. Oh boy, you weren't kidding. That video is going viral. Keanu raised an eyebrow. Already? She turned the screen toward him, and there it was. Hundreds of thousands of views in just a couple of hours. The clip showed the boutique manager's condescending attitude, Sandra's composed response, and Keanu's calm but powerful presence. The comments were already flooded with people calling out the manager's behavior. How do you not recognize Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves? More importantly, why treat anyone like that? Keanu's reaction is priceless. He knew Sandra was going to handle it like a queen. Justice for Sandra. But also, Keanu looking like he's about to buy the entire building just to fire that manager himself. Keanu smirked. People love their internet justice. Sandra laughed. I should comment on it. Something like, next time I'll wear a ball gown to go shopping. Or, Keanu added, turns out kindness never goes out of style. Sandra smiled. See, that's why people love you. They found a bench and sat down, watching as the city buzzed around them. You know, Sandra mused, this isn't the first time something like this has happened to me, and it won't be the last. Keanu leaned back. Same. She sighed, but it still surprises me how quickly people judge. Keanu took a thoughtful sip of his coffee. It's a reminder. Sandra turned to him. Of what? He looked out at the street, watching people go about their day. That no matter how much success, money or fame someone has, respect is never guaranteed. Some people will always judge by appearances, but the ones who matter, they see you, not the clothes, not the status, just you. Sandra nodded slowly, letting his words sink in. You know, for a guy who barely talks in interviews, you sure know how to say the right things. Keanu smirked. I save my words for the right people. Sandra bumped her shoulder against his. Lucky me, then. They sat there for a while, two long-time friends who had seen the highs and lows of fame, who had been adored and underestimated, who had learned that real value wasn't found in designer boutiques but in the way you treat others. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, Sandra stood up. All right, Reeves. Enough philosophy. I say we go find some ridiculously overpriced dessert to celebrate our unintended viral fame. Keanu stood, tossing his empty coffee cup in the trash. Lead the way, Bullock. With that, they disappeared into the streets of Beverly Hills. Not as Hollywood royalty, but simply as two friends who knew their worth, far beyond price tags and status. The end. That should wrap it up perfectly. Let me know if you want any more twists or details.